announcement has been paid for by the new Howl Order.
Whether the team is giving us the highest of highs or the bluest, we'll cover it all here on Commanders Nightly News. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So, had a chance to watch the film with the mob. Shout out to the Mob Squad. Y'all know what it is. I'll be uploading that to Patreon as well a little bit later on, so you have a chance to take a look at what we watched today. However, that is why watching film is, to me, important, because it explains so much. And we can be so reactive as fans because we think we know, but we have no idea. And film brings clarity. And as a wise man likes to say, I need to over-communicate clarity. So let me reiterate this, because I've been saying this, and there are things that I've complained about that I'm going to walk back and apologize for. But there's things that I've been hammering home, and I'm going to double down on that, or triple down on that, or quadruple down on that. One of those things that I've been hammering home is that the game wasn't as bad for 3 quarters. And the spirits of this football team was broken in the 4th quarter when Antonio Gibson fumbled, and then they scored the subsequent touchdown. Josh Allen rushed for that touchdown, and then Sam throws a pick 6, and it's 30-0 when it was just 16, right? There's only so much fight you have left in you before the dam breaks. You know, and the defense continuously watches the offense turn the ball over. They got to come out, sudden change of possession, and get a stop, force a field goal, whatever the case may be. It just becomes too much to bear. And they were on the field, it felt like, all day on Sunday, and they ran out of gas. But I want to say this. After watching the film, EB was fine. I have 2 criticisms of EB, neither of which is getting the ball to the playmakers. And I had a whole entire rant about that yesterday. Do I like the numbers that I'm seeing from the receivers 3 weeks in? No, I don't. However, a lot of that falls in the lap of Sam Howell and the offensive line in particular. And I'll put a lot of the onus on Sam in particular because there's time on some of these plays and he's just not getting through his progressions. He's hanging on to his first read too long, and that's causing problems. Guys are open, and if he gets through his progressions, he will see that. So EB's drawing up some plays, and there are opportunities for him to get the ball to guys. I was critical of EB in the red zone. I still don't like the 3rd and goal run out of gun. I hate it with a passion. But there was someone open on the 3rd down or the 1st down when we got down there. Obviously, you've seen the clip of Jahan standing at the goal line waiting. He was open, and Sam had time. On the 4th down, even, I thought there was a chance to go to Jahan corner route. You know? So I apologize to EB. My 2 criticisms of him in this game. One, there was definitely an opportunity for more run game. And that should never have stopped in this game. Brian Robinson was killing them. And as you watch the game back again with the All-22s, when we ran the football on drives, there was a rhythm that we got into, and we had the Bills off balance, and Sam was at his best in those moments. We didn't run it enough. That goes without saying. My other criticism of EB was, what was my other criticism? I can't remember what the other criticism was of EB. I had 2, but they got to help Andrew Wiley. He's struggling, man. 2 of the sacks that he gave up, or one sack was a hit on Sam that forced an interception, and the other was a sack, and he barely touched the dude both times. And you just go, bro, what are we doing here? He's killing us. They either got to help him or they got to get him off the field. You got 2 options. You cannot leave him one-on-one in critical situations without some sort of chip. Something to help this guy out. That said, if you watch that game, you go back, we moved the ball on the Bills, man. That's the frustrating part. That's the frustrating part. We moved the ball on them throughout the game. And we just, turnovers were the reason. And some of the sacks were, we had enough to block. And we just fudged the protection for whatever reason. Right? So I'm encouraged even more after watching it. Disappointed in how we executed, but again, these are teachable moments. I think we'll learn so much from this experience against Buffalo, and I think it'll make us a better team because of it. Honestly, I do. Defensively, we fought our asses off. I'm proud of this defense, man. I might be as high on this defense right now as I've been since 2020, and we played a lot of bad quarterbacks. Josh Allen is probably the best quarterback we're going to face this season. That'd be my guess. I'm trying to recollect the schedule in my head, but right now, Josh Allen is probably the best quarterback we're going to see this year. And we held them to 16 points through 3 quarters. And if we got any help, any semblance of help, and it could have just been not turning it over, just punting the football. I don't know if the Bills score 30 in this game. They probably don't even score 23 in this game without the turnovers. That's real talk. They did such a good job. And this notion of the D-line didn't do anything, they didn't get any pressure, that's bullshit. Go watch the game. I thought we stopped the run adequately until the end of the game when their spirits were broken. Go watch the game. And if you watch the film, you saw it. My biggest gripe with Jack, I only have one. Jack actually brought pressure. At some timely opportunities, he brought pressure. And these were good blitzes, and they hit home. And Jack can't send the blitz and make the tackle and make the sack. He can't do both. Okay? He can only send the blitz. It's up to the players on the field to execute. My only criticism of Jack is that we should have been spying Josh Allen early in this ball game. To allow the pass rushers to just rush freely without any repercussions. Just go after him. And can't let him get to his right. And they've been coaching and preaching that, and somehow we still let him off to his right side twice in the game. But again, shit happens. Overall, I actually left the film session a little bit more calm about things. Still disappointed in some of the line play, but not to the degree that I was leaving the game. A lot of my vitriol was centered around Andrew Wiley, and it still is. And I just think we need to run the football better. And I think there needs to be more, under center snaps for Sam, more opportunities for him to maybe get away from the pressure a little bit with bootlegs and things like that. Oh, that was my second criticism, the screen game. We could have had more of it in this game. There was no reason for us not to be able to run screen game. So those are the 2 criticisms. I think EB did a pretty good job all the way around. Guys were open. Opportunities were there. I had to apologize to him for, being so hypercritical. He put us in a position to succeed. And now it's about the players executing on the field. So, and I want you guys to put a pin in all those things because we got to move on now. Enough of lamenting over the loss to Buffalo. It's time to move on. We got an NFC East opponent in week 4 for the first time this season on the road. Big game. They're 3-0. We're 2-1. We got a chance to get a piece of first place. Let's move on and turn the page as we go to In Other News. We heard from Ron Rivera today. We heard from Sam Howell today. We heard from a bevy of players. Logan Thomas, who will play this week. You heard from Jahan Dotson, Terry McLaurin, Sam Cosmi, Jonathan Allen. I mean, we heard from a slew of guys. So a lot to kind of take in. But before we do any of that, you guys know what we do first. Let's take a look at that injury report, as that is vital heading into the biggest game of the season to this point. So this is as clean as it was. Somebody said at the end of the game last week, he said, on the bright side, we came out of the game with really no injuries. And I said, you know what? I want to see what's going on with Sam because he was flexing that hand. But other than that, I said, I think you're right. I think we came out of this thing pretty much unscathed. And looking at this, I'd say that person was right. Percival Butler, foot injury, limited today. I think he'll be fine. I can't say what the extent of the injury was, but if it was really serious, he would have missed practice today, not been limited. So Chris Rodriguez, illness, was limited today. He'll be fine. You know how I feel about illnesses. They're day-to-day, essentially. Logan Thomas, limited, and he spoke to the media today, and he already said he's good and he's playing. So we're good there. Manuel Forbes, elbow, full participant. He'll be fine. Benjamin St. Juste, neck, full participant. I assume he'll be fine as well. So this looks good. Looks like we'll be at full mass. I don't see any of those guys missing the game, barring any setbacks. Look like we'll be in full go mode against the Eagles come Sunday. Speaking of the Eagles, let's take a look at their injury report. And I think the Eagles are one of those teams in the league where you don't pay any attention to their injury report. I remember last year when we played them, they had like 22 guys on the injury report, and like 14 of them were out for rest purposes. Like, they really disrespected us last year. And the injury report was like 2 pages long, and every single one of those guys probably played in the game. So I'm looking at this thing. Hamstring with Sidney Brown. Maybe he doesn't play. We'll see. Justin Evans, neck. Didn't practice. Maybe we'll see. Quez Watkins, hamstring. He's a twitchy athlete, so maybe he won't play. We'll see. But Britton Covey, hamstring, limited. Fletcher Cox, knee, limited. Zach Cunningham, ribs, limited. Cam Jurgens, groin, limited. Landon Dickerson, knee, full practice. Boston Scott, concussion, full practice. I expect every single guy on this thing to play, with the exception of the 3 DMPs. We'll keep our eye on them. But if they practice tomorrow, any of them, they're playing on Sunday. I don't respect the Eagles' injury report. Every one of these guys in my mind is playing until they're not. Hamstrings are a little tricky, so I'm watching Sidney Brown and Quez Watkins. But outside of that, I think every single one of these dudes are playing. That's how I handle the Eagles after watching them last year and seeing the injury report and how they handled things last year. So I think it's going to be a clean game both ways. I think both teams will have most of their guys available, and should be a good one. So we heard from Ron. Let's talk about what he had to say first. So Ron, I thought he's pretty direct and to the point today. When you get your ass kicked that way, it forces you to self-scout and self-reflect. And I think they did a lot of that over the last couple of days. But and at the same time, I think they realized that they did some good things against Buffalo. And if they can just cut out the mistakes and some of the breakdowns in protection that didn't need to happen. They rushed 6. We got 6 to pick them up, and somehow one guy comes free. You got 4 rushers, and you got 5 guys in protection, and somehow one of them doesn't get blocked. Make it make sense, right? These are things that just can't happen. And we had breakdowns in protection when there was no need for it, right? It's one thing if they rush 6 and we only got 5. Well, you got an unblocked defender. Sam's got to get rid of it. And you see him respond accordingly when that is the case. But when he expects to be protected and all of a sudden there's a guy coming out of nowhere unblocked, he's surprised, as he should be, right? And that happened twice in the game. So they just got to clean up some things. Obviously, get rid of the turnovers and the mistakes. We cleaned up the penalty aspect, right? Only 2 penalties after averaging 8 for 70 yards the first 2 weeks. So you clean up one thing, and then now another leak springs somewhere else. We just got to be clean all the way around if we're going to beat a team like Philadelphia. But you talked about the growth of Sam and how he had a great day of practice, and how he was in those meeting rooms and doing some really good stuff. He took charge of the meeting room, talking with the receivers, correcting himself, talking about the things that he needs to do better, and really, again, over communicating clarity. And so from what I heard today, I was so enthused by listening to the players. It sounds like exactly what you want to hear after getting your ass kicked the way that we did. Guys, I told you, I think this is going to have, because one of 2 things can happen. It can have an adverse effect, or it could ultimately lead to laser-like focus and give you an opportunity to go in there and win. And I think that's what it's going to ultimately do, is it's going to provide us with the focus that we need to go up to Philadelphia and try to come back with a dub. He talked about defense in particular, and he talked about Emmanuel Forbes and some of the things he's seen through the first 2 weeks, and he talked about his footwork and some of the things he needs to do better. I just think they like the veterans a little bit more right now, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. We've been arguing all offseason, where is this young guy going to play? And we just all assumed, oh, he's going to start out wide. And that hasn't been the case. And I don't have a problem with it. I don't. So I know a lot of you have been talking about the lack of production and snaps for the draft picks. You're not wrong. I mean, this was something that I harped about. When you spend draft capital on guys in the first and second and third round in particular, these guys need to be contributing right away. These guys need to be helping. And they were drafting as if they knew something that we didn't. Like they, have 3 more years left on a contract or something. And so, they were drafting guys like Braden Daniels as if they got 3 years for him to develop and they're going to be here to see that thing through. I didn't agree with it, but if you're confident in your abilities and what you've put together, you're telling yourself, I'll be here for 3 more years. So I can do that. Good luck with that. I hope it works out for them. But all in all, Ron sounded ultra positive. Felt like they got a good week of work in and or a good day of work in rather, and that they're focused. They're ready to learn from the mistakes, but move past those. Focus on Philadelphia, and I'm pretty sure he's already told them how important this game is because I'm hearing it from the players. Right. So speaking of which, let's go to Sam. I loved his press conference today. It was one of resolve. It was one of confidence. It was one of maturity and leadership. He took the blame for everything. Hey, I got to be better. We all had issues, but at the end of the day, it starts with me. I have to be better. I have to take care of the football. I have to get us into better situations. I got to get rid of the football. If it's not there, I got to throw it out of bounds. I got to find incompletions. He took the blame. It was I, and that's what you need out of your leader. You're going to wear a C on your chest. You got to be able to stand in there and take it, because when things are going well, they're going to shower you with praise and give you all the credit. But as a quarterback and as a leader of the team, when shit doesn't go well and you throw 4 interceptions and you only score 3 points, you got to sit in that. You got to sit in that and you got to take it. And he did that. And he sounds like, I'm going to get back out there. I'm going to do the things that I know I'm capable of doing. I got nothing but confidence in this offensive line. I fully expect them to get the job done moving forward. I got to be better. I'm going to be better. We're going to get these playmakers of football in space. We're going to, get these guys going because we know we got a talented enough football team to do the things that we know we're capable of. And so he's like, I learned a lot from this game, and that's all I wanted to hear. Like, there's nothing worse than an ass whooping in vain, Like, if he's repeating these same mistakes against Philadelphia, we got an issue, right? Because, bro, that means we took that ass whipping on the chin for no reason. I want him to learn, and I fully expect him. A lot of those mistakes were very fixable. I mean, super, super correctable. So it's not like something where you go, man, like with Heineke in particular, like, hey, bro, it ain't nothing he can do about that. He don't have the arm strength for that, right? Like, just don't do that because you can't. That's not the case with Sam. Like the pick he threw with Tre'Davious White jumping over Curtis Samuel. Curtis could have helped him out by not, drifting on that route, but, staying a little flatter and giving him a chance to fight for it. But Sam would have drilled that ball in there had Andrew Wiley not gotten beat like he stole something. And you should have seen the hesitation the dude gave him. It was a sloppy hezzy. And Andrew Wiley act like he never seen a hesitation before. He looks away from the dude, and then he goes right around him, doesn't touch him, and he hits Sam's elbow as he's trying to follow through, and that's why the ball didn't have any zip on it. And Curtis kept drifting instead of him, putting his body in between the defender and the football. He drifts, and Tre'Davious White jumps over him and picks it up. Again, these are things like Sam can make that throw, and it would have been a touchdown. I'm confident of that. He would have drilled that puppy in there if Andrew Wiley wasn't over there stinking it up. So Sam sounded like a guy that was confident. Confidence isn't wavering. A lot of y'all were wondering, man, I don't know, Lou. Like, this, we saw this movie before. This is a different dude. He's built different. I keep trying to tell y'all. This dude is built different. He's more along the lines of Jalen Hurts in terms of his mentality. That's what you want at the quarterback position. So I got nothing but the utmost confidence, and so does his teammates in Sam. Speaking of which, heard from a bunch of guys, and to a man, the message was really simple. We can't beat ourselves. We know what we did wrong. We watched the tape. We got better because of it, and now we're on to Philadelphia. We had a great day of practice. We're locked in. We know how big of a game this is. And at least 3 dudes said, I love going to Philly. One of my favorite places to play. They know what it is. And that's like a second home to us. I fully expect these boys to come out. It's gonna be charged and juiced up. They mad. They still mad about last year. Okay? They still pissed off. Like, they got this circled on the calendar. Don't think that they don't. Okay? They out for blood over there in Philadelphia. We went into their house last year on national television and embarrassed them. So they definitely won it against us. We got to match that energy. And it sounds like these boys are ready to go out there and match that energy. You know? So whether it was Sam Cosmi talking about, hey, you know, we got to make sure we build a pocket around Sam. He's not the biggest dude in the world. So on the interior of the offensive line, we got to do a really good job of keeping the depth of that pocket intact. The tackles got to keep the width. We keep the depth, and we got to keep Sam clean. Right? And then, you know, listening to Jahani's like, bro, we just got to make the most of our opportunities. You know, when the ball comes our way, we got to make plays, right? Terry's like, look, I've been talking to him. I was talking to him all game, you know, while we were going through it. I talked to him after the game. I've talked to him, you know, just about every single day. And I just keep reinforcing, bro, I got your back. We got your back. And just know that you can trust me. If you get into a jam and I'm one-on-one, I got you, bro, right? Like, just reinforcing to him, hey, we still believe in you, bro. And I know that sounds crazy after a game, but when a young quarterback goes through what he went through in that particular game, you need to be reinforced that the team is rallying around you, right? And so I love what I heard from all the players that spoke. Logan Thomas is like, yeah, man, it sucked, you know, but, you know, having watched the game and, you know, it sucked for me not being able to help my brothers out there, but having a chance to watch it as it was happening, we were moving the ball. You got to get out of your own way. So he's like, I just went and I told him, hey, look, the tight ends are the closest to you. You know, if you get into a jam, we're looking, bro. Our eyes are on you. If you need somebody, hit us. You know, we here, right? Same thing with the checkdowns. So there's a good support system around Sam. Good energy, good vibes. And most importantly, most of all, there's a laser-like focus right now with these dudes. They know what's at stake. Jonathan Allen's like, bro, this is big. This is Philly. Like, this is what you want. This is what you playing for right here, these type of games. Early season, I know, but this is big. The difference between Philly going to 4-0 and us dropping to 2-2 and both teams being 3-1 is massive. It's massive, okay? So don't take that for granted. I don't think these players are right now. I like what I heard, and I think this is going to be a really good matchup. I think we're going to be right there when it's all said and done. Let's take our first look at Philadelphia, speaking of which. We all saw the game on Monday night, and we saw their defensive line in particular. And, you know, he talked about the run game and DeAndre Swift, and Jonathan Allen talked about DeAndre Swift and, you know, how talented this dude is, and he hates the fact that he's in Philly now. We all do. But you got to go out and stop the run. I thought we stopped the run really well against Buffalo, and I expect to stop the run again. I expect them to put the onus on Jalen Hurts to win the game with his arm, and if he beats us, you tip your cap. But I think that's going to be the mindset going in. Is they can't rush for 100. He can't rush for 150 whatever yards in this game like he's been doing the last 2 weeks. We got to shut that shit down. Whomever's in the game, Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott, it doesn't matter. They got to get this work. So that's the biggest thing that you're looking at. But make no mistake about it, these Eagles are hungry. They really, really are pissed off about what we did to them last year, and they're out for revenge. Like, even their fans. They got this one circled on the calendar because people like me who've been talking shit for the last year since we beat them, letting them know, hey, you 19, Jalen Hurts is 19-1 as a starter. Where you get that one from, right? So they tired of hearing that. So there's going to be just a little sense of urgency on their sidelines. They really want to rub it in. We can't allow that to happen. And I like the spot that we're in, but we got to go out and we got to execute. All right, we got to execute. And I'm hoping that there's a couple wrinkles in the game plan. Because if you think about it, and as I've watched the film, what we've done the first 3 weeks has been, a continuation of what we've done all season to this point. Like, there really hasn't been any new integrations in terms of plays. We've seen a lot of the same concepts. They're running them in the same situations. We get down in the red zone. You're running those same two little in routes like we did in week 2 for the touchdown. They did that same play, and that's where Jahan was open, and that's where you got to get through your progressions. You don't think they watching film? And you got to get to Jahan and throw the touchdown, right? So I hope to see some more innovation. I hope to see some different plays, because I really feel like we've run the same plays each of the first 3 weeks. Sans for week 2, where we ran the screens, and we haven't seen those really in week 1 or 3. So I'd like to see them integrate some new stuff and see if we can't give the Eagles something else to think about. But it should be fun. We will really dive into the Eagles further tomorrow when we go behind enemy lines. We're really going to talk about some of the things that the Eagles are going to try to take advantage of, and things that we can take a look at and maybe exploit on their side of things, and that's what we'll do tomorrow. But in any event, that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. I thank you guys for joining me. Very pleased with what I saw on film, despite the turnovers and the mistakes. Pleased with what I saw from this defense. I think the exaggeration of the defense not getting pressure and not showing up, grossly exaggerated. I think that was a big exaggeration on the part of a lot of fans who were just frustrated that we didn't get to Josh Allen. But they got pressure on the quarterback. My biggest gripe right now is with them, Andrew Wiley, and I know they're not going to bench him, but that he's the biggest liability on the offense right now. You could argue he's the biggest liability on the team right now. So we'll see how long how long of a leash he has, because he's hurting this football team right now with his play. So that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on Commanders Nightly News. I can tell you this: I am so encouraged by what I heard after one day of practice. I want to hear that we had another great day of practice. Everybody to a man said, "Hey, we had a great day of practice today. We were locked in." I want to hear that again on Thursday. And that's going to give me the confidence to feel like, hey, we can do this. We can beat these boys. I know we are capable. I know we're talented enough. It's all about mindset. And if they're locked in mentally, I think we're going to have a chance. They haven't seen us with Chase Young. They haven't seen this defense full force. Not one time last year did they catch us with all of these boys up front. And they were struggling with just the 3 of them last year. Add in Chase Young, and Chase is playing really well right now, man. Chase is playing well. They can have their hands full. Just like we might have our hands full with their defensive line, they're going to have their hands full with our shit. Yeah, their offensive line is really good. So is our D-line. I'm welcoming the challenge. Anyway, I digress. You guys, get out of here. Have a good one.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap. Hand to Riggins. Good hole. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20.